With the whole Xbox Game Pass library at our fingertips, Xbox Series S owners are never more than a few button presses away from something fresh to play. But making the most out of this delicious console and game collection combo means you'll want to get to playing them as quickly as possible. So to help you out, here are 10 awesome Xbox games, all of which are available on Xbox Game Pass and come in at just a single measly gigabyte or less.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. That's a lesson that King Eric of Davern relearns every single day in Yes Your Grace. As the person sitting in the kingdom's fanciest chair, you wield total power over all its political decisions. Each day, a long line of petitioners will appear before you and you'll have to decide what to do about their complaints. The kingdom's coffers are not exactly overflowing though, so you'll have to make a lot of hard choices about who to help and who to leave hanging. The swift load times on the Series S allow you to make rapid fire decisions, but you might want to dwell on them for a moment anyway, because your choices can have all kinds of unintended consequences, and most of them are pretty grim, so choose wisely.
But if the pressure of royal life all gets to be a bit too much, you can always take a tropical vacation with The Tourist. Just don't let the tabloids hear about it. The Tourist's lush, blocky world really is the perfect place to lose yourself in, especially on the Series S, where you can watch the waves roll by with the calming smoothness of its 120 FPS frame rate. Honestly, the stress will just wash right off you. Unless you're trying to get that blasted surfing achievement. Any veteran tourists know what I mean. And while that's happening, you can enjoy wandering around the game's islands, meeting all of its eccentric inhabitants, and perhaps even solving a mystery or two along the way.
When Dead Cells starts off, you've already been beheaded, which I know in most circumstances, not great, not what you want. But here it helps to underline the central tenet of this gorgeous pixel art roguelike. Dying is no big deal. Sometimes it's a decapitation, other times it's a spike trap you didn't see until the last moment, or a boss you thought you'd figured out. Maybe you chose the wrong buffs this time, or tried to rush the early sections too much. The point is that whatever happens on one run, you can dust yourself down, take stock of the new equipment you scored along the way, and prepare to go again. With hundreds of hours worth of replay value built into one deceptively tiny download, Dead Cells really lets you make maximum use of your console storage space.
And if you're in the mood for the looping structure of a traditional roguelike but can't quite muster the enthusiasm for all the hacking and slashing that usually entails, Slay the Spire might be the answer. Here, encounters play out as turn-based card battles as you slowly make your way up the spire, fighting increasingly fearsome monsters along the way. Each battle won grants you some new cards, allowing you to tailor your deck more towards your own playstyle and giving you a better shot of making it to the top. It's basically all the card collecting, monster battling fun from the old days, but without the fear it will suck up all of your pocket money. Or your hard drive space for that matter.
Next up, Undertale seems like a game cut from the same cloth as Slay the Spire, a turn-based RPG with a retro feel and a lot of critters to do battle with. But there are a couple of key differences. The first is that combat here involves a bullet hell style mechanism where you have to dodge between incoming attacks. And the second is that the game's story can quickly devolve into an existential nightmare where it turns out you're a terrible person and should feel really bad about yourself, probably all the time. Which is an impressive amount of emotional devastation to pack into a quarter-gig file, especially when you consider that you could download Undertale 335 times, and that might just about equal one download of Warzone. Thanks to a branching narrative that shifts depending on the choices made in each playthrough, Undertale is another game which just begs to be played again and again. Actually, come to think of it, if you've already played it, what run did you have? Pacifist? Genocide? Neutral? Let us know down in the comments.
And while you may or may not be a monster in Undertale, you definitively are in Carrion. You're a tentacly death blob, an amorphous mass of writhing flesh and bad intentions. And it turns out that's actually a pretty fun thing to be, especially in an old school side-scrolling action game. Carrion boasts an especially intuitive control scheme that gives you full control of your deadly tentacles and which is sure to have you tossing objects and enemies into the air like a nightmarish juggler. By the time the game ends and you've unlocked all your abilities, you'll be a parasitic abomination that strikes terror and disgust into the hearts of all who look upon you, just like we always knew you could be.
While it's obviously delivering a love letter to the action platformers of the past, The Messenger also has its own story to tell as well. You play as a sprightly ninja on an important mission to get a scroll into the hands of its rightful owner, no matter how many bad guys get in the way. To make it through them all, you'll need to master the game's unique slice and bounce system, which lets you increase your airtime whenever you strike anything with your sword. Kind of like an out-of-control Beyblade or an especially deadly jumping bean. Things get really fun when you discover a rift in time that lets you travel between eras, with the game shifting between 8 and 16-bit graphics in the process, complete with a new version of the theme music. The end result is a game which feels steeped in nostalgia, but won't feel out of place on your shiny new Series S.
The digital life has also been pretty sweet for Double Fine fans of late. Game Pass members can now grab the cartoon classic Psychonauts directly onto their Series S, and they'll be able to do exactly the same when the long awaited sequel arrives later this year, all at no extra cost. But it's not like Double Fine have just been sitting on their hands during the 16 years in between the two. No, they've been working on more charmingly offbeat titles like Costume Quest 2. This turn-based RPG once again has you on a quest to save at the spookiest night of the year by gathering your friends and putting together the right superpowered costumes. And what with this being a Double Fine game, it also involves wacky stuff like time wizards and evil dentists. Because, you know, some things never change.
Lots of multiplayer games have multiple win conditions. Very few of them offer a path to victory that is taken on the back of a snail. In fact, Killer Queen Black may be the only one. Often described as a cross between Joust and Capture the Flag, it combines team strategy with frantic arcade action as you battle to either slay the opposing team's queen once and for all, gather all of the map's berries inside your hive, or, as previously mentioned, ride a snail across the finish line. Because it's so multifaceted, and also because it's kind of deranged, Killer Queen Black is the sort of multiplayer that you can come back to time and time again for a jolt of spontaneous weirdness and fun, which makes it a perfect tiny title to leave stored in the corner of your hard drive.
Finally, we have another arcade-flavoured indie game, Narita Boy. This side-scroller takes place in an 80s-inspired world, where the creator of a hit video game has been inadvertently sucked inside his own game, and now must battle through a pulsating, neon-tinged computer world in order to find his way home. Pure bio-digital jazz, man. Narita Boy is a true triple threat, packing smooth gameplay, gorgeous hand-drawn animations, and one of the most earwormy theme tunes we've heard in ages. Plus, you get to wield an all-powerful sword, so this basically checks every box in terms of things we like to see in a game.
Not only are all these games a great way to save space and take a little pressure off of your bandwidth, they're also just great games in general and provide a great taster for the vast galaxy of gaming goodness that's always just a click away on the Xbox Series S. Let us know which ones you'll be downloading in the comments, and feel free to like, subscribe, and ring the bell on your way out. Bye!